connected with the European Tour and Ryder Cup Europe. It's highly appropriate that we are here for today's announcement in the ballroom at Wentworth Club in England, the venue not only for the challenge match in 1926, which was the precursor to the first Ryder Cup the following year, but also, of course, the venue for the 10th Ryder Cup, staged just out there on the West Coast some 66 years ago in 1953. Now, while the Ryder Cup is steeped in history, we are here today to look forwards and not backwards. On that score, I'm delighted to introduce the man to my left, Guy Kinnings, who took over the role of European Ryder Cup Director in September of last year, and who will be at the helm as we drive this greatest of sporting contests forward in 2020 and beyond. Guy, over to you.
Thanks, Scott. I was absolutely delighted to take on the role last year. It's been fascinating for me to see behind the scenes not only of the tour, but also of behind an event that's become truly extraordinary. I've been lucky enough to be involved with the Ryder Cup for many years, working with players, with vice-captains and captains who've led those teams. I've been involved in golf, working on tournaments and with players for nearly 30 years, and I know exactly what it takes to put on something as extraordinary as the Ryder Cup. To that extent, I want to personally thank our commercial partners who are so supportive of the tour and of the Ryder Cup itself, and that would be particularly Rolex, BMW, Aberdeen Standard Investments. I'd also like to thank and pay respect to our formal partners in the Ryder Cup, which would be the PGA of Great Britain and Ireland, represented today by their CEO, Rob Maxfield, and Chairman, Alan White, and by the PGAs of Europe, represented by Ian Randall. I'd also like to thank our extraordinary team here at Wentworth, led by European Tour CEO Keith Pelly. It strikes me that almost everyone in the Tour office was involved in some way, to a greater or lesser extent, with the Ryder Cup. And they helped create what was, only 4 months ago, a quite fantastic tournament. And I'm just very proud to work alongside as dedicated, committed, and hard-working a team as them. However, we are all here for a very particular reason. And I'm sure the eagle-eyed amongst you will have spotted that there is a vacant seat on my right. And I think it's probably high time that we sought to fill that seat. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure and distinct privilege to introduce to you European Ryder Cup captain for 2020, Mr. Pádraig Harrington.
Thank you very much, Guy, and welcome, Pádraig, and of course, welcome too to your wife, Caroline, who has joined us in the audience. Full details of Pádraig's career are available in the press material that we will be issuing at the end of this press conference, but just to remind you that in addition to being a three-time major champion and a winner of 30 professional titles globally, our new captain also possesses a rich Ryder Cup pedigree. He's played in 6 consecutive contests against the United States from 1999 to 2010, being on the winning European team on 4 of those occasions. And he's been a vice-captain for the last 3 contests at Gleneagles, at Hazeltine National, and of course at Le Golf National in France last September. Before we hear from the man of the moment, let's remind ourselves of just some of Pádraig Harrington's many achievements in this game.
What a finish by Pádraig Harrington.
Beautifully read and well played, Pádraig Harrington.
Harrington's the champion.
And finishes in style.
Absolutely fantastic.
And he's made it. Pádraig Harrington is a winner
a smile. Pádraig Harrington has won the Portugal Masters.
Pádraig, some great memories there. Before we open up to questions from the floor, just can you sum up your emotions at being named as Europe's Ryder Cup captain for 2020?
Well, obviously I'm thrilled to be named as the Ryder Cup captain for 2020. It's not something I went into lightly. You know, I suppose you could look at this as being a natural progression. You move on from player to vice captain to captain, but it's not something that I take on without a certain amount of trepidation. I really want to be a help. I want to hopefully lead the Ryder Cup and the European Tour in a better place after 2 years. But I know we want continuity in Europe. We want to keep moving along, and ideally we play the Ryder Cup match tomorrow with the same 12 guys. But you know, I know we're going to a new venue. It's an away match. We're going to have, on average, you know, 3 more rookies coming into the team, and I have to be a part of that team and ensure that I find an edge to make the team perform to the best of their abilities, get the most out of them, and hopefully get a win. And you know, having been a player, having won 3 majors, I've done a lot in my own personal career, but you know, I know taking on the Ryder Cup captaincy is a different thing. It's a different level, and it's something I have to, you know, I really, you know, conscious that I have to find that edge and add to it, and you know, that's something I don't take lightly. It's going to take a great deal of my time over the next 18 months figuring out how can I make our team play to the best of their ability.
Thank you, Pádraig. We'll now open up to questions. We'll start with the first couple from Jamie Weir at Sky Sports News.
Thank you very much, Scott. Good afternoon, Pádraig, and congratulations. I know how desperately you wanted this job. Can you tell us, first of all, how and when you were asked the question, and hand on your heart, was it a surprise, or like the majority of the people in this room, I imagine, was it something you were expecting?
Like I alluded to there a little bit, there seems to be a natural progression at the moment. I seem to be the right time and place for me in my career and in the Ryder Cup profile of other players and whose turn it is. But just because it seemed like it's my turn, it's not something I just walked into and said, yeah, it's my turn, I should do it. It's something I did think long and hard about. Was it right? And, you know, it's possibly easier to be a Ryder Cup captain at home. But I realised it was good timing in my career, but I also realised that it probably was the best chance for me, the best chance for the team in an international setting, going to the US, having me as their captain at this time. So I felt, yeah, it was the right time for me to go for it. And, you know, when you talk to the other players, I certainly have their support. When I talk to the other vice captains and potential captains going forward, it seemed to fit very nicely that I go and do the away match. And then it really came down to whether I wanted to be in the hat and put, you know, what is a successful career, put it on the line, because you are putting it on the line when you become the Ryder Cup captain. It is a different element to your career. And, you know, we know a successful captain is great, and a losing captain, you know, it's his fault. So there is a lot of, I am putting something on the line going out there. And once I decided that I wanted to, you know, take that chance, put myself out there, I think then it was just making sure that the European Tour and the PGA both decided I was the right man too.
You touched upon it there, and in the 20 years since you made your debut as a player, the role of captain has changed dramatically. Are you excited by it, or would you be lying if you didn't say you're slightly daunted by it as well?
A bit of both. There's no doubt I'm excited with the whole idea. I hope I can add something to it. And we've had some great captains over the last number of years, and I suppose I've learned from all of them. I've probably learned more. I've actually learned a lot more as vice captain than you do as player. It's amazing the difference. As a player, you're very one-dimensional about doing your thing and getting on with performing. As a vice captain, you definitely see a lot more. And yeah, it is daunting because you want to do a good job. You want to add to the Ryder Cup. And as I said, Thomas has left it in a very strong place. He did a great job. And all the captains I've played under or was vice captain, I've learned from every one of them, and I will try and bring that all together, and hopefully, hopefully I will pull it together and say the right things at the right time, and hopefully, get a team and get the best out of that team that provides a winning performance.
Just to probe on that point a little further, as you said, 9 different captains you've played or vice captained underneath. What bits from each one do you think you will take?
I will definitely take bits from all of them. I could go back as far as your Sam Torrance and Woodsy, who were very emotional and put their arm around your shoulder and make you believe that they believed in you. They give you tremendous confidence. But I also played under Bernard Langer, who is like a school teacher. And Bernard did get involved. He would come onto the tee boxes and tell you what clubs are hit. I remember getting scolded on one of the team meetings for laying up into a hazard. And to be honest, if I look at all of this, I'm not the fuzzy, cuddly type either, so I might be more on the Bernard Langer style of things. But then, you learn from Monty, who gathered the best of everything that had gone before and put it together. Paul McGinley took it to a new level. No doubt about that in pre-match organisation. Paul certainly put more into that 2 years before the match than anybody else had done before, and that's a requirement now. And this is what I said there about it's close on 18 months to go now, a little bit more, but it really is a full-time job, the Ryder Cup, trying to get everything in preparation ready for the match. Because as I would have seen, Paul's went very well and he was very organised, and it really did go smoothly during the week. Darren was very organised, and it didn't go smoothly. There was a curveball, and you probably would learn most in that match because a lot of decisions were coming in retrospect, and it was just we were always trying to play catch up. We were playing a great team. So you learn a lot in adversity, and I think going in with Thomas in France, again we had adversity, but I think we were well prepared. I liked the fact that Thomas relied on his vice captains to have things ready for him to make decisions, and I would certainly be going down that road. I would be talking a lot with my vice captains to give them the power and to make them aware that they have to do a lot of the work and prepare a lot of the details, so that when I come, and it's a limited time during the Ryder Cup, there's a lot of distractions, that they have done the work, the groundwork, that I can come in and make decisions. And I think that was what happened with Thomas's team in France, and it worked very well considering we went down so heavily in the first morning on Friday. The backup that Thomas had and his ability to stick to his guns and stay with the same team in the afternoon really is what won it.
Just finally from me, it has been the worst kept secret in golf. I'm sure you've been inundated with messages from players over the last few months, not just the last couple of weeks. Who have you heard from, and what have they had to say to you? I
am very encouraged by the support I've got from the players. It has been, I believe, unanimous in their support. Not just the past captains who I would be close to, but the current players who are going to play under me. They were all very supportive. I know they want continuity. It's a very important thing to have that continuity, but their confidence in me is hopefully going to be well placed, and it does make my job easier that I feel I have the confidence of the players. And yeah, they have all spoken to me publicly, they've spoken to me privately, and it is very important that I have that feeling of support, because I have to be a confident captain as much as I need 12 confident players.
Thank you, Pádraig. We'll now open up to questions from the floor. We have Ali and Tom with the microphones. I'll do my best to try and see whose hands are in the air. Who's going to start us off with? Yes, on the right there. Greg.
You've spoken about trepidation ahead of this. You've used the word daunting Is that because you've been so successful as a player, 3 majors, more than 30 wins, that taking this role is something that you have to prepare all over again for, and it's a blank sheet, and you've set yourself extremely high standards as a player?
Some of it, yes. I've had a successful career, and you want to always be successful in the golfing sphere because of what I've done. But I think more of it is just you're trying to beat a US team away from home. They're great players. They're a great team. You know, and it's just not an easy task. And I am well aware of, you know, it's a win or nothing. That's the way it goes. You know, you go out there and win, you're a successful captain. You lose, you're not. So it is daunting. Some of it's a little bit outside my control. I will concentrate on what I can control. But yeah, it does reflect on my career how this goes. And I'm aware that I could have passed up on this and just kept on going as a nice tournament golfer. But I am, like everybody else who takes on the Ryder Cup, you are, when you're a Ryder Cup captain, you're putting a lot of your I suppose, the history of your game, your legacy, you're putting on the line.
Alistair, in the centre, please.
And given what you've just said, how seriously did you consider passing it up?
I wonder, did I consider it seriously? I was certainly thinking and considering it. I don't think I ever thought I wasn't going to do it, but I wanted to make sure I was doing it for the right reasons. I wanted to be clear that I didn't just walk into this because it was the next thing to do in my career. I wanted to make sure that I was doing it because I believed in it and wanted it and felt I could add to it. So it probably was unlikely that I was ever going to skip it, but I had to be clear that I was doing it for the right reasons.
Any other hands in the air? Yes, Bill, please.
Pádraig, you say understandably that it's a full-time job. Does that mean that you already think the price you'll pay for taking this captaincy is the next 2 seasons for you as a player?
In some ways. I've reached a stage in my career where I enjoy playing golf. I'm not as stressed about everything that goes with it. In terms of, you know, younger time in my career, like if I did need the right food and get in the gym and have my physio and all this, there was an element of me, oh, well, how can I perform? I've got to a stage in my career that, yeah, I like to do those things if it fit into my schedule, but if it doesn't, I can still go out there and play and enjoy myself on the golf course. And on my own golf, I do feel like I can be competitive. I feel like I go out there and if I'm coming down the stretch against any of my potential teammates, I feel like I can win in that situation. But I don't put myself under the same pressure. I don't worry about it so much. And, there is an element of the Ryder Cup. There's quite a number of things to be done outside of of my golf. And I don't mind. I don't mind going for a dinner for a couple of hours and sitting down and having a nice meal with sponsors or actually business meetings or things like that. That's kind of where I've got to in my career. So I feel like I can handle the both of them. And the way I'm handling it is not getting too uptight about my golf.
Any other questions? Any hands in the air? No? Last chance? Okay, if there are no more, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Guy. Thank you, Pádraig. And of course...
Gregory has one there. If you...
Greg, I couldn't see your hand. Sorry, carry on.
Just one thing about your style of captaincy. You've spoken about Bernard Langer being someone who you might follow because he's a multiple major winner who was a captain. He won away from home. Jose Maria Olazabal won away from home. You're a multiple major winner. Does it give you a recognition edge in America that they know who you are? You've won a major in America?
Yeah, I think it does fit nicely that I have performed and played in the US. I would be reasonably well known in the US. The event itself is not too far from Chicago, which has a nice Irish base. So yeah, there's a lot of good reasons for me to be the captain in the US, and all of them should be helpful to me and the team in terms of support and just every captain's going to get a good welcome. So in the end of the day, there is a little element of it, yes, for sure, but everything really lines up. This is a good, I'm the right man for the job at this time. But going back to the Bernard Langer thing, it's more because I'm the same personality than Bernard Langer than anything else.
Are we all done? I think we are. Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for your time. Pádraig, I think it's best to say that everyone in this room wishes you all the best over the next 20 months as we lead to Whistling Straits in 2020. Thank you, everyone. Safe travels home.
Thank you.